We're rolling.
Do it. Hey, we got the camera girl saying that we are rolling. You heard it in the background. Right on. Okay, so we're doing another little airbrush tutorial. I painted up this, was just a piece of crap toolbox. And I'm going to do another little airbrush tutorial. I'm just going to do something very quick. I always say that. I know I always say that. I say quick. Ends up being like a 30-minute video. We've got the bow tie tagged to the top. Chevy bow tie. Basically what I'm doing with this thing is I'm just going to make it look like, not really sure what the name of it is, but I'm going to put some panels. I'm going to show you how to do rivets. That's the main thing of this video is just it's an airbrush tutorial on doing panels, rivets. What can I say? What can I say? Pick up the airbrush and kind of go for it. That's what we're going to do. So I've got two airbrushes here. I've got this one loaded up with black. I've got one loaded up with white, and that is literally all we are going to use. We're going to use black and white, and I'm going to grab the airbrush, and we're just kind of going to go for it. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip. So, I have this little here you go. I have this little thing with lots of circles on it. It's a little template, a little plastic piece. Now, when you take this and you put it on a piece of paper, card paper, that's what I use. It's fairly heavy. Little tip. Now, when you draw your circle on there and then you try and cut it out with your X-Acto knife or whatever, okay, here's a perfect, I don't know if you can see it, but here's a perfect one here. You can see you cannot get it perfectly round with the X-Acto knife. Now, here's a little trick. You could literally tape, you could put masking tape, over here, and you could use this specifically as your template for hazing in your, well, you're going to see what they are. We're using the circles for rivets, okay? Now, you could use the plastic, but the plastic is actually, it's pretty thick. I would say it's probably 4 times thicker than the paper. Here's a little trick. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, you're looking at some stuff that I've already done. That's not supposed to be on the video. Okay, so a little trick. So when you cut out your paper, what you can do is you can take some sandpaper, some fine grit, 420, 320, and basically you can roll it up. And what you do is you stick it in the hole that you cut. You let it go free, and you give it just a little, see that? You give it just a little rub, round and round. and you get a nice perfect hole, because cutting it with your X-Acto knife, you're not going to get it perfect. When you put the sandpaper in there and you just roll it around, you get a much nicer hole. So I'm going to grab my airbrush and I'm just going to kind of go for it. The camera girl, she's just going to kind of watch. She's going to film. She's going to see what's going on, and we're just going to do a quick little... I've already painted the toolbox, as you can see. I'll show you. It's just a cheap ass toolbox that I painted silver, and I put a little hazing of blue, as you can see, on it, just to make it, give it the, kind of the old, I guess you could say, effect. So I'm just going to take my airbrush. I've got a Chevy emblem. I did drill out the handle on the top of the box. We're just going to, as you can see, we'll just haze the edge. That's really all we want to do. We want to haze the edge. I'm going to haze the edge just a tiny bit. Doesn't really matter if you're a little heavy or you're a little hard. As you can see, yeah, I got some heavy spots, I got some hard spots. Now my paint in my airbrush is reduced probably about 50%. I know it's hard to see when I'm airbrushing. We've got the Chevy bow tie on here. We got some hard spots. We got some light spots. Does it really matter? Not really. We'll take the tape off. Because really all we want to see is the bow tie. That's really all we want to see is the bow tie. It's going to become a panel. We're going to take just a piece of paper I've used before with some circles on it. And literally we're just going to do some lines. Now, you don't want to pass through the bow tie. This one we'll do a little upper. We'll want to keep it a little bit light as we come towards the bow tie. So the idea is to create panels. We want to create panels because we're kind of going for the whole aircraft kind of panel look. We can do as many or as little panels as we want. What you don't want to do is you don't want to cross over into the bow tie. as far as the it doesn't really matter, because you're gonna come after. You're gonna haze all these. You're gonna haze all these. You're gonna haze them. Doesn't matter. See that line there? It looks a little weird. We will clean that up. We'll clean that up. We're going to haze this one. We're going to haze this one. You know, it's all about how close you get, how far you are away from it. Let's take our piece of paper, and you're going to have to determine kind of where you want the rivets. I could even haze the bow tie if I wanted to. I'm not going to touch the bow tie. I'm just going to do like a I'm going to wipe that. I'm going to put a rivet. I'm going to put a rivet, and basically I'm just hazing an edge. So you got to think of your light source. If my light source is off to my, let's say off to my left, I'm going to haze it more to the right. And this is all, it's all guessing. You know, it's all guessing about distance and how far you are from your line. It's all about guessing. The more you do it, you know, the more you will, it's kind of hard to say. It's the more you do it, the more you'll figure it out. You'll figure out your values in paint. How much you want to spray here, how much you want to spray there. This is just a quick little rundown. This is a quick little rundown on it's a quick little rundown. I'm trying to think of the word. It's a quick little rundown on, you know, how you get to where you want to be. And I know that with airbrushing, it's all about satisfaction. You know, it's like, you know, you pick up the airbrush for the first time and you want to, you kind of want results. I understand that, because when I first picked up the airbrush, that was kind of how I felt. I was like, I want to see results kind of instantaneously. Now, where you place your rivet, that's kind of a trial and error. That's kind of a trial and error type of thing. You know, I'm just I'm thinking of metal panels But I'm also, at the same time, I'm also thinking of my light source. My light source being to my left. And it doesn't really matter too much on the rivets. Because you're going to see, you are definitely going to see that you're definitely going to see that in the end game, you know, when I place the rivet, it kind of, you get think of a panel. Where you want to put the rivet? That wasn't a very good rivet. Doesn't matter. We'll clean it up in the end, and you will see it. You will see it. Things don't always work out. That's the cool part about what I show you with the airbrushing, you know. I just had a big slur there, and I like you to see that, because these things happen. These things like that happen, and it's like I want to kind of show you, you know, just rub it with your finger. Rub it with your finger, kind of fix it up. You know, fix it up, because you got to remember, it's airbrushing. So it's like you can there's a lot of things you can do. You know, most people, they would look at something like that, they go, oh my god, what am I supposed to do with that? And it's like, no, just rub it with your finger, carry on, you know, move on, don't worry about it. It's your artwork, you know, it's what you're doing. So no matter what you're doing, it's yours. No matter how you look at it. Yeah, my piece of paper here, it's getting a little wet. I just rub it. Kind of move it away. Move the paint away, so I can just kind of carry on. Camera girl's getting like really tight on me here, man. It's like, I'm not saying that it's messing me up. I don't mind. I'm gonna put one right here. Make it look a little uniformed. But I gotta come back in, man. I'm gonna make this all pop. I can put one. I'm not gonna do anything with the bow tie. The bow tie is the bow tie. I think I'll put one more here. Yeah, camera girl was getting really, she was getting really close, man. I think I'm gonna put one right here. I'm gonna put one right here. We're not gonna do the whole, we're not gonna do the whole toolbox, because that'd be a real long ass video. We're gonna put that down. Now, what I'm gonna show you here is I'm going to, so you see the rivets, you see the panels, you see the bow tie, okay? The bow tie, not really too concerned about the bow tie. I could come in and I could haze just a little bit on the bow tie, and I can make the bow tie something of its own. It necessarily does not have to be part of the panels. You know, it could be part of the panels. I could put rivets all around the bow tie. But what I found is, that the more rivets that you put on a picture kind of take away from kind of what you're trying to accomplish. The best thing with rivets, it's all dry. I'm running at like, 50%. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put just a haze. I'm going to put a haze. I know it's so subtle, it's hard to see. But I'm going to put a haze, just a slight haze, under the rivets. Now, you want your haze pretty close to the rivet. You don't want to be too far away from the rivet. And the reason being is if you get a little too far, from the rivet. So this is like a, you can see it on the camera. This is a shadow. And you don't want to get your shadow too far away from the rivet, because if you get the shadow too far away from the rivet, makes it look like it's, don't worry, I'm telling you, we will clean this all up. I'm not the best. I'm just showing you some of the little tips and tricks that I've found kind of along the way. It's all about your mix. It's all about your paint. You can do big shadows, you can do light shadows, you can do dark shadows. To me, it doesn't really matter, because it's like that one. It's like, wow, like what do you got going on there? And it's like, I'm moving on, because when it comes to airbrushing, your thing is your thing. Some shadows are dark, some shadows are a little bit lighter. I want you to keep that in mind. It's, you're just shadowing. That's all you're doing. You're just shadowing these round circles, at the moment, you're saying, well, like, now that one, that's probably a little too far away, for what I would consider a rivet. But it's like you can darken in towards the rivet, Now, we've just got black laid out here. And it doesn't really look like much. So I'm going to set that airbrush down. I'm going to grab this airbrush. which is loaded up with white. And like I say, we want to keep this video. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta stop here for a second. I gotta stop. We are rolling. If I forgot to say it, Sharp Customs, share, like, subscribe. Let's get back to the damn video. I'm just gonna carry on. I got my white loaded up. We're gonna boom this thing out. We're gonna make these little rivets. I mean, right at this moment, they don't really look like much. We're gonna put a little pop in every one of these rivets. Now, we're going to put a little pop. Okay, this airbrush isn't working the greatest, but I got to work with it because that's what I do. It's doing some weird funky spray thing. Doesn't matter if you get a double dot in your rivet. It really doesn't matter. Oh, look at that! Look at that! You just got to see it. You just got to see it on Sharp Customs. You just got to see, I don't even know what that was. I can't even explain that. That was just a blast. That was a blast out of the airbrush. You got to see a total fail right there. Now, I've watched many airbrush stuff on YouTube, and you don't get to see much stuff like that. Like that just, I don't even know how to explain that. That was just crazy, you know? Can I fix it? Obviously, yes, I can fix it, you know. That paint is totally dry. You know, it's white base. Totally messed up the whole procedure. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, look at that. We can just kind of rub it out of the picture. Let's move on. I want to move on. I'm not worried about that. I can fix that up. Let's see if we can get that to happen again. You got to see it. A lot of airbrush artists will not show you their failures like that. They just won't. I'm sorry, but they just won't. I don't care about double dot. Oh, look at that! Look at that! You got to see it twice. Not once, but you got to see it twice. Okay? I don't even know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. You know? Most airbrush tutorials, they would not show you something like that. You know? That was a total... I don't even know what the hell that was. Like, it's like, you know, I look at the airbrush and I go, like, what the hell are you doing? You know, it's like, you just see me do a whole bunch. I'm going to carry on. That's really all I can do. I'm just putting these little highlights with the white and my rivets. That's really all I can do. I can't explain what you all just saw. Like I did a little bit of practicing just before this, and I did not have that happen. So as far as what that was, and that was, I really don't know what to tell you. It's not like it's not like I open the needle or the valve or anything more different than what I'm doing when I'm just putting these little highlights on the rivets. It's nice. I didn't do anything different. So yeah, you got to see it. Not really sure what I will do about that. You know, you can kind of rub this stuff out. I'm gonna do a very fine line with white on these, on the seam lines. I want them, technically what I want is I want them as highlights. Now, we've got our highlights on most of our rivets. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that nice fine line. Look at that nice fine line on my seam line, or panel line, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Did you see that? I'm going to try and get rid of that. That's a total, not really sure what's going on with the airbrush. There's definitely something going on with the airbrush, because it just does this like, it just does this like huge spit of paint. What it's doing, I'm not 100% sure. You know, have I had it happen before? Not really. Not like that. Now I'm just starting to get real. I'm starting to get real paranoid with the, with this particular airbrush. Really starting to get paranoid. I like those very fine lines. The idea of the white line on the panel like this is to basically incorporate kind of your light source, I guess. Gives it kind of a cool effect with a little highlight. Gives it a little highlight there. Now, what are we gonna do with that white spot? Not really sure. But what we are going to do is we're going to come back with the black, and we're most certainly, where we did our highlight lines, you know, we can darken this stuff. We can darken it. That white spot probably going to have to be sanded. Not going to worry about it too much, because like I say, this is a tutorial. What I like to do with my real bright spots, I do like to tone them down. I like to tone them down with just a little bit of black, just kind of haze them. Now this Now you notice this line here, we got a highlight. I will come in with the black. Watch this. It's such low pressure. See, you get just a little dark line beside the white. We're gonna do it over here. It's so subtle. It's so subtle you can barely see it. And that was like when we did the little mess up. When we did a little mess up with this black line here. You know, I don't know what to do with that. With the big old blast of white. We're just gonna kind of ignore it. So these little rivets, we're gonna douse them just a tiny bit with black, but we'll come back. We'll come back and we will highlight them again with the white. And the reason I say that is because, you know, it's kind of messed up, you know, with these white blotches. We can clean them up. We can clean them up a bit, you know, because let's just say these lines here, what I'm going to show you is you can do these little, so you can do these like little, what I consider rust runs. Rust runs. You can call them whatever you want to call them. I call them rust runs. This top piece, yeah, I got a little bit of cleaning up to do on it. So for each rivet, you can do a rust run. You know, you carry it right down through. You don't have to make it look like it hits the other one. Do a rust run. You know, these ones obviously they'll go over the corner. Now you could mix your colors. And you could add like a more brown to your rust runs. Yeah, you want to kind of keep them. You could even take your lines. You could take your lines, your panel lines. You could literally take your panel lines and you could go, oh gee, I got some rust. I got some rust coming down from the panel lines. Doesn't have to be right on a rivet. It could just be a random, you know, it could just be a random line. It really doesn't matter, you know. We're just going to put a line back here. You know, we're on a corner. And we're just going to pull some, oh, I don't know. Oh, there we go. There we go. Ah. Make it look rustic. You know, you could add some brown, you could add some red. You just make it look very Here we go. Look at, we're gonna try and clean this up. One of these little white spatters. We'll just darken it up. What do we care? You know, we can. Hey, we're the airbrush. We're the airbrush artists. You know, we can kind of do whatever we want. It kind of gives you an idea what you can do. Now, what was going on with the white in that particular airbrush, you know, doing this here spot, I have no idea. I have no idea. I'll do my little bit of investigation. My black, obviously you can see my black is working perfect. So that's kind of the top of the toolbox. I will definitely fix this up. We're going to keep this toolbox. We're going to do the front. We're going to keep this. We're going to keep all our airbrush materials in it. Now, here, I'm going to flip it around. I did a little bit of stuff earlier. I had no issues. I did the back. I just did some panels. I did some rivets. I kind of did some, you know, streaks with the black. Just kind of rust. Like I say, you could add the colors you want. You could put a little bit of red, a little bit of brown. You could make all these little streaks that come down. You could most certainly, you know, mix up a brown or a rust colored red to make this look more authentic to a I'm thinking of the name, disturbed, distraught metal. You know, there's so many things that you could do to it just by adding some color, some red, some brown. But that's our quick little airbrush tutorial for tonight. And yeah, I kind of wish my white was working a little better. It wasn't splurting out, you know, the way it was doing, because it kind of made a bit of a mess on the top. I'll clean it up. I'll fix it. I'll get it working better. And that's our video for tonight. Sharp Customs. Share, like, subscribe. And until the next one, peace out. Later.